presenter is going to be Thais Alves on supplier evaluation, the impact of supplier evaluation on product quality.
Okay. Can you hear me? Okay, good morning, everyone. As Ken said, I'm Thais Alves. I wrote this paper with Kim Needy, who was a project PI with me in this project, and students Pantil and Ashley, and Sham Music, who was the leader of our team from the practitioner side. So we are going to be talking about the impact of supplier evaluation on product quality. This was a project that was sponsored by CII and developed by San Diego State and also University of Arkansas. So the background of this study was that we started this study in 2012. Ken was still part of the team for a couple of years. He was leading the first part of the discussion. And then CII renewed our study for a couple more years. And our focus was to, in this part of the study, since 2015 until this year, 2017, was to explore how supplier ratings actually impact the quality, the final quality of products. And also to investigate how the inspection effort defined by the companies, the EPC companies, engineering, procuring, construct, they affect the end quality of the products that are delivered to the construction site. So just to frame our problem, we investigated fabricated pipe spools, shop fabricated piping, and it was focused on the EPC industry. So the results might look different from other industries, but hopefully we are going to get a few insights about how this actually plays in the construction industry. So the objective of this paper in particular is to explain, as I said, how supplier evaluations actually impact the definition of inspection efforts assigned to suppliers and how this actually impacts the final quality of the product. So we collected evidence from a survey that asked the respondents to talk about actual purchase orders. So it was not opinion-based, it was fact-based on previous projects and specific purchase orders they had. The presentation results, as we are going to see, they have some statistical analysis, demographics of our data set, and so on. So in general, supplier selection and evaluation in product quality, they are related. The literature says that when you evaluate suppliers and you actually give them feedback about what they are doing, they tend to become better suppliers because they know what you are measuring, they know what's important for you as a client, and they respond to that, right? The problem is the EPC contractors, when we run our study, when we started our study, they actually said that they might not use prior supplier evaluation to make future decisions. How is that possible? You are collecting the data and you are doing nothing with it. But that's what they said. And the inspection and fabrication capabilities, we also discovered from the very beginning of our study that they matter a lot. They are related, and people tend to pad their budgets with a lot of money when they see that a supplier has bad fabrication capability or bad inspection capabilities. So let's just remind that the Toyota way, if we look at some of the principles, some of these principles, they are very applicable to what we are discussing here today, because it says, the principle one says, base your long-term management decisions on long-term philosophy, even at the expense of short-term financial goals. So the industry is choosing the cheapest suppliers, and then they pad their budgets to deal with inspection hours that they have to put in place so that the products come with the quality that they want, right? So it contradicts this first one. The second one is get quality right at the first time. Don't work on the inspection effort, but work with the supplier to make the product right at the first time. Respect your network of suppliers by giving them feedback. So we also discovered that suppliers, they don't get much feedback from the contractors. And contractors are very careful to share this information about the lessons learned, and I think that's a problem for us in the lean construction community. If people are not sharing the lessons learned, their breakdowns, and the problems that they have when they are doing things because of fear of litigation, they don't want to document the breakdowns, that's not going to be very helpful for us because we are not learning from our mistakes. And then you see the next ones, respect the network of suppliers by helping them to improve, go and see, so go to the field and try to understand what people are doing. Our research method, as I said, was a purchase order. We have focused on one product. Suppliers were rated from 1 to 5. This is just a slice of our study. So here I'm just presenting about the impact of supplier ratings and product quality, but this study is much broader. We use Qualtrics to collect the data. And we have some limitations in the data set because we had 41 purchase orders. The data that was submitted from 41 purchase orders, it's a small sample, we understand that. Some surveys were incomplete, so we couldn't use all the data for all the tests. And one respondent had 15 POs from different projects. So one single company picked 15 different POs from different projects and they submitted to our study. So the results we have, as I said, 41 purchase orders, factual data, not opinion-based, representing 37 different projects. And you see here a distribution of how many were submitted by owner organizations, 10 of them, 31 were submitted by contractors. 90% of the suppliers in this sample were in developed countries. Mind you that this was this is a characteristic of our data set. And 32% of the POs, about a third, right, they had some sort of subcontracting. So our data to investigate that became a little bit smaller, but that's what we had. So this is an example of the different, how we organize the data for the different hypotheses that we analyzed. And it shows there the test variables, the description, so more details are in Pantil Desai's master thesis that's going to be published by the end of this summer, most likely. So the first hypothesis we had was a supplier with a higher rating will have a higher PFAB, which we call the fabrication capability from the beginning of our study, and fewer inspection hours. And sure thing, what we found was suppliers that have low ratings, they have more inspection hours assigned. You say, this is a no-brainer. Yes, but the industry is not listening to that. They just keep picking the people who are cheaper, and then it becomes more expensive because they have to assign more inspection hours. The hypothesis 4, you see more sub-suppliers are associated with a PO leads to lower fabrication capability, and then they add more inspection hours, and that is true. So there are more inspection hours added when the suppliers, the purchase orders are subcontracted. I have to tell you that sometimes the contractors don't even know that the purchase orders of materials are being subcontracted. They have no idea who's behind the supplier that they are hiring. So if they don't know much about the supplier, they add more inspection hours. So that's their response to the problem. Instead of working with the cause of the problem to fix the problem and not having to inspect so much, they just add more inspection hours. The next one you see, hypothesis 6, higher supplier ratings actually should result, we thought, in lower number of non-conformances. I have to tell you that these hypotheses were developed with the help of practitioners. So we were talking about collaboration between the industry and academia. CII works like that. They put us with a team of practitioners, and there is a lot of discussion along the way, and we are not making up these hypotheses. We are not just looking at the literature review. The practitioners are actually helping us define these things. So it's a great environment to work and people to work with. So we found that when the supplier rating is low, you find more non-conformances at the shop. So we are measuring non-conformances as our proxy for quality. If we find more non-conformances, it means that the product doesn't have the quality that we expect. The next one, the number of inspection hours will be higher for POs for which the supplier was not evaluated. Can you imagine, you contractors in the room, you are working with suppliers that you did not evaluate. The owner just comes and says, you are going to use this person here, go and figure. And they're like, risk management. Let's throw a lot of money to do inspection because we cannot run the risk of something going wrong. So you see that there's a lot of things that are fundamentally wrong. Some of these projects are multi-billion-dollar projects. And imagine how much money is wasted in this effort. Finally, more inspection hours are spent when the supplier rating is low. So these two are related. If the supplier is not evaluated or if the supplier rating is low, people tend to put more hours. And many of you might be here saying, this is so obvious. Why would you spend time doing that? Well, people in our team at CII RT308, they said, we work with the inspection side, with the surveillance side, and when we try to convince procurement people that they are going to spend more money, they are going to make us spend more money by choosing these cheap suppliers, they don't listen. They just keep going to the same cheap suppliers. So this is the kind of data that they go back and say, here, look at this. Let's pick people who, and we actually, the continuation of this research, we actually put together a tool that helps you get to the total landed cost of a purchase order. So how much money you are going to spend in total when everything is said and done and put together, right, to deliver a project. So there is a lot to learn from that, and our conclusions are that suppliers with low ratings in evaluation, of course it matters, right? More inspection hours are our budget, and the industry is spending additional money to ensure quality instead of, as Liker suggests, spending more time developing the suppliers, training them, and doing other things that will banish waste in the first place. The next one, subcontracting, even for portions of a PO, in a commodity like shop fabricated piping, this is the simplest of the materials that you can actually look at. We are not talking about big, complex products. And even in a product like this, there is subcontracting. And if they are not, the suppliers are not analyzed, and this subcontracting goes on, people are going to spend more money and time and effort trying to fix that. And finally, pre-award evaluation of suppliers matter. So owners who are also in the room, sometimes you might impose some suppliers to your contractors, know that they are going to, if you don't collaborate with them for them to understand how this supplier works and why you need so much that one supplier be actually part of your project, you are going to pay for it. So there's no money that's going to appear out of the blue. Actually, you are going to spend more money to make these things happen. So with that, I'd like to conclude my presentation. Thank you, and thank CII for the support for this project. Thank our amazing industry partner, Sean Music, and the co-authors of the paper. Thank you.